Kathy,
Nope.
Joan, and Karen Ann, and we're trying to figure out if that's Joy at the other end.
It is.
Okay. So, present to speak. I see Mary Pat's there, and I don't know if she has anything she wants to say.
Hi, everyone. Sure, I just will make it quick. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just wanted to touch base about, thank you for posting those meetings. I think that there's still a couple that are missing from December 13th and January 31st.
Pat, there's none, Mary Pat, there's none missing. Robin says
Oh.
they're all.
Yeah, they're on there.
Oh, I just right before the meeting, I was just on the town website and there weren't any from December 13th and then January 31st. Unless it got posted someplace else. I didn't see them. I know one time there was some minutes got posted in the agenda, I think for like in June or something like that.
It doesn't look like.
So maybe.
Okay.
Maybe if someone could just check that. And I just like, I'm not trying to come down and be I don't want to give the appearance that I'm coming down hard on you guys or anything, but I just think it's really important that everything is open and transparent and accessible to people. And so that's why I've been pushing this. So if you could just see if those minutes could get posted, that would be great. And then the other thing I just wanted to bring up was regarding the executive sessions. I talked with Russell Blair and also saw a copy of the email that he sent you. Executive session, I know there's no way, obviously there's no way to change what has been done already, but executive sessions can't be held for job descriptions or restructuring or anything of that nature. When it's a personnel issue, and you can call and talk with him or see what he has to say as well. But in speaking with him, he said that personnel matters, those are only related to what an individual person, an actual person, that you would pull into executive session. So it's to discuss their job performance or something of that nature. Job description or restructuring is not necessarily tied to that person. So that would have to be an open meeting. But then if you wanted to assign a person to a specific job, that at that point you would bring them into executive session, but it's got to be related to a specific person.
Okay, we know that now, Mary Pat, but there isn't
Yeah.
anything we can do once we have.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. I'm just, because I have brought it up in the past also, but it's been continued to happen, then that it has to be on the agenda and it has to be specific. You were discussing it last time, but something like Robert's Rules for Order is just not, it's not the law. The FOI is what the law is, so that's what's supposed to be followed. Robert's Rules of Orders is more like, I don't know, I would liken it to like Emily Post's Rule of Etiquette or something, like a guideline for how to hold a meeting, but the FOI laws are what you do. So that's all I have. Just would ask that you, going forward, make a better effort to follow what the FOI laws are. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Okay, minutes from January 24th.
I want to change the grammar in the present to speak section. It's a small thing, but we did it last
On the
time.
minutes that were already done for
No,
for which one?
For January 24th, before we accept them.
Oh, I don't have a copy of that. Okay.
Okay, so this is what I'd like a sentence to read. There's a middle sentence that starts, the email was vague. I would write, the email was vague as to whether or not the meeting could continue with or without the executive session. No comma, since the purpose of the executive session was not specified on the agenda. The grammar is just a complete word salad at the moment. I could just write that in on some version if that's a pain to copy down.
Yeah, I didn't get all of that, if you could,
Want me to do it again?
Okay, I have an issue.
You don't have a copy?
No, it's not, I don't have a copy. Does it totally change the meaning and the purpose of what's going on?
In my opinion, it's so incomprehensible as to be important to change. Why don't you want to change it?
Because I have a problem with changing minutes, if there's not a major issue for it. If something is, names have to be spelled correctly, particularly for people, you have to spell the name. And amounts of money have to be correctly, at
Of
least
course.
within minutes. But if we're missing an apostrophe, or we don't like the wording, this is the wording that the secretary chose. If you want to change it, talk to the secretary. You see what I mean? We can take 3 months to pass one set of minutes this way if we nitpick on everything. This is an amateur group. We have to remember that. There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be little ones. As long as they don't change the total context, then we have a different issue.
But they should be clear.
Yeah, and I think that sentence is not clear. I don't think I'm nitpicking, and I'm not going to approve them as they are, because I think that sentence is garbage. But I see your point.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. If it's not clear, especially for future,
Mhm.
in the future, somebody reads this 2 years down the line, or whatever, right? I
Mhm.
think there needs to be a clear understanding of what happened.
Okay.
I agree, if there's a
So if
something
you think
minor,
it changes context,
Yeah.
I'm with it.
yes,
But if we think it's just going to be because we wouldn't say it that way or something like
No,
that.
the grammar's
Also,
complete
the
mess.
minutes are not supposed to be word by word what goes on. The minutes are to tell what happened and what votes were taken, not who said what. In
correct.
fact, who said what is not appropriate for the minutes.
Hmm.
So, we can simplify them and make sure that our record is what happened, and a discussion of such and such was taken on. And then after the vote is taken, actually, discussions occur after the motion has been seconded. That's when your discussions
Okay.
occur. So we can simplify that, because I see where you're coming from.
Mhm.
You know, you read things correctly and you're very interested in things we write, and I think that's a real strong point. But on the other hand, who's writing this doesn't know and is.
I think the big thing, as long as the context, and if it
Mhm,
needs to be
fine.
adjusted,
Yeah,
Then-
if it
then I
changes
agree.
the context
Yeah.
and it makes it hard to understand, we have to change it.
Could you read that line in
Yeah.
its original form?
The original said, the email was vague on whether or not the meeting could continue with or without the executive session, since the executive session was not specified what it was for on the agenda. I think well, first of all, it's redundant, but
Yeah.
the "it" is vague there, so to me, that actually does change potential interpretation.
Okay.
I mean, if the whole point is we don't wanna spend silly time on minutia, we're doing exactly that right now. So I would make the recommendation to just amend that sentence. That was my only critique.
could we
Okay,
just
so
amend
we
it,
can
take
accept
it,
them as amended then, would that be a way to do it?
Yeah, I think so.
could we just change it to the executive session? I know that it says the executive session 4 times in 2 sentences, but,
If you took out what it was for,
no, I mean, you're saying it doesn't specify, could we?
so you
replace-
would say, since the executive session was not specified what the executive session was for on the agenda, you see how it's like the pronoun replaces, like, it's in there redundantly 3 times.
Mhm.
I think for now,
whatever. If you want to accept it as is, I'm just going to say,
Can we just one line that from since all the way to the end of that sentence?
that would be my recommendation. Since the purpose of the executive session was not specified on the agenda.
Okay.
That's it.
One line that.
Because I read it and I didn't have a problem, but I'm not the English teacher.
We don't have to send it back till the next meeting, can we?
Right, we can
Pass
vote on
it
them
now.
as
Okay.
amended, right.
Okay, now that's much better,
Mhm.
because then we're not taking 3 months.
That's right.
to pass one.
I'd like to see all this stuff be corrected even before it gets sent to the town. I know it always says at the top that they're not official until they're approved. So a lot of you must have to go through the same thing. So I would suggest or recommend, you guys can take it up or not, one, whoever will be the secretary, to perhaps run it by someone. We used to have where the minutes you would put
Joyce,
out there and they would ask for corrections before it went to the town. That
Joyce
would be a
sent it
good
to me to
practice.
ask me if there were corrections that I thought of, and that sentence made perfect sense.
Say that, or having a better idea. I know someone who probably doesn't want to be secretary, and I know someone who'd make a great secretary.
Well, I was thinking that, but
would
I
be
didn't hear
perfect.
Well, I'm not,
Would be with
not
such
unseating.
perfection, would be perfect for that position. I mean, I'm just saying.
A rough draft could go to all members and just identify it as a rough draft and
Yeah.
put our 2 cents in.
that's a good idea.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I will motion to accept the minutes with the amendment that Kathy put in.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Okay, then all in favor of accepting the minutes of the January 24th meeting as amended by Kathy, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, then director's report.
Okay, the short and sweet of it is, you guys can read it for yourself, as far as patron count, 708. As far as we knew with what was handed, all the minutes were added to the town's website as of 2/12/24.
But now we'll look into
But we
that.
will, yeah. Hoping I'll look into that. As far as work needing to be done with the signers information at Berkshire Bank, they've all been updated. The old people who are no longer in office or serving have been taken off and the new ones have been put on. Same with our STIF account. It's all up to date. Again, old members were taken off and new members were added to the account. We've asked that everybody, and you all got an email, plus I think, well, here it is on our minutes, that our accountant to do our taxes now needs the hours that you have put in serving on the library board, whatever that may be. And as soon as
And
that,
that's
as
for
soon as
the
you can, it'd
last
be great.
fiscal year, not
Okay.
currently.
June to June.
You got my email
That's-
today?
Yes, we did, yep.
June to June for that. And then we could talk about the last thing on our director's report when we come to it in the agenda. But that's it.
And that's
What
it.
would you say? Lynn?
Yeah,
Is the patron count steady? Consistent
yeah,
with
it
most
was 668 last year, so we're actually up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, steadily increasing, so.
Do you just have a counter, so when a body walks through the door, you
Yeah,
Yeah.
the staff have individual counters.
got it?
Can you make a comment that you made to me the other day about patron counts of the young adults?
Oh my gosh, since we changed around the young adult area, cleaned up the books a little, we have had so many more young adult books go out. It has been so great. The girls have put like the books up on display, so you see some of the covers. And since they did that, I mean, I think we've had more young adults, and they're taking multiple. It's just really good to see. And since we moved, we changed around the YA section a little bit. Now that purple table's against the wall, I think it was this today or yesterday, there was a teen with her laptop and we're all like ogling her like, yes, yeah,
We have a
so,
team.
yeah, exactly. So
Well, it's not that bad,
slowly by
but-
the changes, and we're still making more changes to utilize, like you guys said, utilize the space we have. So we're seeing improvements and it's really great.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Treasurer's report?
Yes, so, I apologize, I made an error here, I didn't correct, October revenues, that should be reflective of, January. So, for January first of 2024 to the end of, January, we had a beginning balance of, $135,971.42. I saw a pattern where almost every other month, our revenues change to basically be just of interest, and then the next month is similar to what we saw last month. So for revenues for January, I had $1,380.36. And then for expenses, we did change from previous month. I saw that, I'll go through each one just to make sure everybody's clear. So payroll, we had $13,626.92. Office supplies was down drastically to $89.81 compared to $849.92 last month. Building maintenance was $124.64, which was also drastically down almost $900. The telephone was $155.23. Custodial supply $44.76. Propane, we had here $991.10. Books $417.02. Newspapers, magazines $338. Audio, DVD, and CDs $90.86. FOL $431 and grants $74.38. Combined expenditures of $16,383.72. The other thing that I saw that there was no internet, it looked like. So that $2,600 from the previous month, there was none for this month. I also didn't see any electricity reported on the report that was given to me, so just understand on that. So ending balance of $120,000, $858.51. So
Okay, thank you for pointing out, because I have two question marks here, where's the electric and where's the internet?
The way that they're billed, we end up with a 2 per, so you'll see the next month it'll look really high, but
Okay.
yeah, because it kind of goes like, yeah,
I saw a
yeah.
pattern that was kind of.
Yep.
And is that similar with like the office supplies and building maintenance, that just sometimes it's high and sometimes it's low because of what we need to buy?
Yeah, supply, exactly,
Okay.
supply.
That's what I assumed.
Yep,
So FOL is Friends of the Library?
you got it.
Correct.
What do they charge you for?
Those are 2 pass renewals, and again, it's going to look like we spent, but we didn't because they pay per quarter. So when they pay us, it'll go into the revenue line.
I see,
Yeah.
I see.
Can't see each other out.
Exactly.
And our utilities as far as propane and electric, we're on budget.
So, Jen, I know, last month you and I talked, this is not of encumbrances, this is of, year-to-date that we've spent. So, there could be a difference in percentages when you look at encumbrances. But at the end of the day, what has left the pocket,
So we're
that's the
good.
percentage left.
Any that gave you a red flag that you were worried about when you looked over this?
Nothing that, stood out to me, unless you guys have seen anything on your end. All seems to be good right now.
Great,
Okay, thank
thank
you.
you.
And this is for up to January 31st?
Correct, yes, I made an error on that.
Yeah, no, I'm just
Yeah.
checking, because that leaves February, March, April, May, June, that's only 5 months till the end of the year. And so 120,000 divided by 5 means we have over 20,000 a month right now to make it through. So if next month the electric and the internet and stuff go up, we should still be okay.
Yeah, and they will. Yeah, they both will. And we have that $800 bill that shows next month for the replacement of the batteries for ADT.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll see a significant increase next month.
Did the electric and propane bills, I assume they start going down.
Yes.
Did they start going down in April, May?
So they went down a little, like, the propane's going down steadily. The most recent is 835. The electricity, I'll have to check. I think it did go around a little, but you're right. Yeah, even as early as March, you'll start to see.
Does it go back up for the summer because of
Sure
air
does.
conditioning? Yeah. I
Yep.
Okay, any other questions on the treasurer's report? Okay, thank you, looks good. Okay, then, old business, we have a new budget layout that has been sent to us by the directors. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
I'm sorry, say that again?
The new budget that they,
Everybody has a copy in front of them.
All right, this is what the fixes over last time. Right.
okay, my question is, how does the final number compare to the budget that we talked about previously? The 241,000. Is that, no, that's the revenue, sorry. It's 280,000. How does that compare to the budget we were talking about?
Well, what the board presented at our last meeting, it was 282,962. And if you look at this, it's a 280,292. There's a difference for the total budget of 1.05% less with the new figures.
Okay,
And that's pretty much just I'm sure some human errors, perhaps. Some of the totals that you had come up with weren't exactly at the 4.3%.
oh, I was rounding, that's why.
We do things by the penny here, but even with that, you can round it out. But at the end, there can be, you're doing a whole budget, pennies add up quickly. I know I'm really bad, but Joseph, but that's just the way it goes. And so we can round it out.
When it's audited.
I'm a penny pincher.
Yes.
So, thank you for doing it.
But anyways, we kept the director, assistant director. We gave
Yeah.
our programmer 18 hours. I think that's the major change we did, was the programmer for the 18 hours instead of the 12.
Programmer's assistant too, correct?
Correct.
If you look at the sheet where there's the explanations of what actually is on the worksheet.
Right.
It'll help.
Yeah,
with
there is the breakdown if
figures,
you have
and it'll
any
say-
questions.
They'll say what the last workup was from the board, and then what Hope and I had worked on. So you can see it in black and white and understand it a little bit better.
No, it's in black and bright red.
True.
Actually, it's supposed to be a good sized green there, but the green wasn't taking, it looks darker,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I tried to,
Did you see?
put what should be highlighted in red and then the green, money, money, money. And so, we really didn't touch the director or assistant director. We just put
Right.
what you have at the top is what we originally were figuring at, what we were getting or are getting, and then doing the 4.3% increase. We weren't sure because we weren't included in it as far as how you got the director and assistant director, except from the fact that it came from the program, the page, money that was.
Yeah, so the page is still
So-
out.
That's right.
Because I know you wanted to get that up. So, and those are rounded out. Let's see, and then each individual person and their job, you've got down the hours, what they would make per hour at that 4.3%. We're showing the staff meetings separately, so you know where everything's coming from, and then giving you a grand total, so to speak. But please note that when it comes to the programmer, because things were figured out originally at 12 hours, and then you asked us to figure it out at 18. There now isn't enough money. What you were giving as far as an increase in pay is now absorbed because of the extra 6 hours. So much so that you are short now $1,803.28. So we have to put that much more into that line to stay with the 4.3% at 18 hours. And the same thing goes with the custodian. You were a little short there, not much, but to give exactly a 4.3% increase, and for what you allotted, you're $44.26 short. So you'd have to add that in to make up what's needed for his position.
Okay, but that has not been added on here?
If what you see on the
Yes, this
workup
reflects
sheet,
Right, yeah.
it is included.
Yeah.
Okay, just double checking that
Yeah.
it's included.
Just so you know where.
So we
where
went
the
off of your
difference is.
structure and we just added in what we know for the staff and what they work and hours and this is what we came up with.
Okay, did
so
anything
that we
change
can-
except salaries, where all the rest of them kept the same?
No,
Kept the same.
yeah, well, everything, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, in order to have no legal discussion, I'm going to move that we accept the budget as presented. And then we have the opportunity to discuss it on the record. If you get a second, we can discuss.
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay,
Any
just to make sure.
discussion?
Okay, now we can discuss. Have you considered, maybe if the 18 hours doesn't work, should we go to 16?
That would make up the difference in the money if
That
we
would
don't
be
want to add the
okay.
1,800.
Okay.
Oh, and two, with the, just a little bit of information you may want to know, when it comes to just the beginning of the worksheet where all this falls under the administration, what your past, the last meeting was at a 12.96% increase. This one is only 11.61, so it's a 1.35% less
Okay.
just for that section, but overall,
Yeah.
it did change it enough where it's, as I said prior, 1.05% less as a
Okay.
whole.
Well, then, maybe we should go to the 16 hours. Does that seem feasible from a getting the job done point?
Well, you're asking the wrong person if you don't want to hear the right answer.
The right answer is you
Because-
need the full time, I know, but,
Well, the thing is, I'm glad that, because last year we wanted, and so we did 12, so I'm thrilled that it's going up to 18. You're heading in the right direction. It is a full-time job, 24 is ideal if you had to pick and, choose, kind of a thing, but, it's more and better than what it was, and I think it's needed. It is an important job. It brings in people. No. Does it bring in revenue? No. Then again, people's taxes are supposed to pay for what goes on in the library, and you shouldn't be charging, in my opinion, in practice from 17 years ago and always before, that you don't charge people for things that go on at the library. You're already paying it, like I say, in your taxes. So, and I'm saying that for good reasons, but I can remember what I was just thinking.
Well, it's still an increase at the 18,
Oh, it's
right? Because
revenue.
it's 1982. It
Yes,
was
and-
19.
Yes.
I think we should leave it at the 18.
Is that,
How would the difference between, I know this isn't an answer you can give a real clear answer on, but I wanna throw this out. How much of a programming difference as far as what the taxpayers will receive for their money? How much more are they getting for those extra 2 hours of work? You know what I'm asking?
yeah,
Is it,
a lot, but
because we have to remember, we're a 6,000 person town.
Right.
And we have to be responsible. We can't spend like Tottenham does. We can't have, the kind of, as much as we would love to have programs, I would love to have a lot of programs, but we also have to be fiscally responsible with, and acknowledging the fact we're a small town library, we're not. So I wanna know, like,
Well, what do you think the library is as far as a job? Programming is what brings people into the
I-
library,
I'm aware
not
of that.
just books. And you've got with demographics, you have people of all ages, babies to seniors. So you figure if you were to offer each one of them something,
so are we talking about adding more program, what kind of additional programming would we be getting by going up 6 hours? Are we talking about adding programming for new demographics that we're not meeting the needs of? And if so, I just kind of want some specifics on how we're envisioning.
an
Sure.
example, Jen, when we cut the hours, we at one point added hours so that we could reach on Fridays.
Mhm.
Babies, children, and seniors.
Mhm.
Because by the time we opened up, say at 11 o'clock is what it was, they're already home, both those groups taking naps and having their lunch and taking naps. So we changed from our 11 to 5, which used to be
Mhm.
our Fridays, from 9 to 3. We still kept it 6
Mhm.
hours, but we kept Friday and Saturday as more weekend hours.
Mhm.
And it did enable us to bring programming to babies and to seniors. We don't have that anymore.
So is
We don't
that,
have anybody to work it,
Okay.
although I was doing it before. But yeah, so you don't have anyone to work it or anything. You're not offering anything to those two groups right there.
I just think we're gonna have more success with the BOF and the town if we can say, here, we're adding 6 hours and it's gonna impact you, rather than, well, we figured out we could afford 6 hours more, so we went with it.
No, I think it would definitely, along the lines what Debbie's saying, be a huge impact to weekly programming
Mhm.
and outreach. So
Yeah.
right now, he's doing a lot when he can, but to both run the program and take the time to reach out to everybody, I think those will be your two major improvements.
You couldn't do schools, for example. We used to go to schools and we haven't done that in a long time. Again, keep in mind, COVID had a lot
Yeah.
to do with what once was and what is now and what should be and we're hoping to create.
Mhm.
But most programmings are done in the evening,
Mhm.
Tuesdays and Thursday evenings or Saturday mornings or early afternoon. So there's a lot of time that we're not getting its full potential in reaching people
Mhm.
in the community for different reasons as we once did.
What did you say, weekly outreach, and what was the other thing?
Yeah, weekly programming and just outreach.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I
And
mean,
by outreach, we're talking,
advertising, reaching out to see what other libraries are doing, coming together with other libraries.
One of the outreach that I do is the senior
Yeah.
center.
You have?
Yeah, I do a book club. You would like that one.
we're not old enough for the senior
I would
center.
be.
We have another book club.
I couldn't wait till I was.
We'll have in the summer, maybe you can join us. The
or when I turned 60.
Yes.
We'll get there eventually.
The discussions are.
I believe you, I believe you.
They're elevated, they're really pretty good. The other thing that I'd like to be able to do is to be able to offer movies. We read some pretty complicated books there and some pretty heady stuff. And a lot of those books have been turned into movies.
Mhm.
And we do have the license to bring the movies in here. What we don't have is being able to help pay for the van to bring them in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
the senior center does some, and there is a tradition at the senior center that people, you can do a goodwill offering, which we could offer here for some of these things. You know, $1 if you want to.
Donation,
You
yes,
know,
we've done that
Just
times.
donations, you get, at Ellington, you get a bag of popcorn and you put money into the donations, whatever you want to, it works. But those are the kind of outreach things that we could
That's
do.
neat.
And bring the, seniors in.
There's,
They're quite a crew.
the Willimantic, or the Chronicle, to the extent that it's even still a paper, frequently highlights what the Mansfield Library is up to. I mean, I know, again, much bigger town, much bigger budget, but they have a rent-a-tool program. Have you heard of this?
Rent it to us.
They have every,
What is the liability on that?
I think it's pretty frequent. I don't think that's rare in libraries. Everything from tape measures to plumbing tools to art supplies to
There's a lot you can do in a library for sure.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's borrow a book, but also for crafts and things around the home. And there's also a large Chinese American population in stores where there isn't here. And so they've just brought in a whole bunch of newspapers and magazines that are in other languages, and they have movies in those languages for rent. And I just thought, wow, I don't know if that's a population we would be serving here.
Do we
But-
have I mean, I'm new here, I'm very new to the town. Do we have a significant foreign language population here?
Because of UConn, we
I
have
think
quite
some of the
a.
apartments in
Okay.
particular.
And
And
there's
we're
some-
working on updating like our language section. We have a lot of good books, kids' books and other
Right.
languages, and yeah,
But
they
like the
really.
whole Harry Potter series in Mandarin at the Mansfield Library.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Right?
But if we're going to do that, we have to promote ourselves at the apartment complexes where the.
Right, and
students-
the
Right.
outreach.
Definitely.
Which goes
Yeah.
back to the program, right?
Right.
Yep,
So
exactly.
I think it's defensible, frankly.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
and the fact that we also cut the second page position,
Yeah,
I think it looks fiscally responsible to sort of streamline these jobs.
yeah.
Yes.
I have another thought that people may not like, but it was just something I wanted to put out there. And that is the assistant director is going to have less responsibility now that they're not a co-director. Do we need to give a raise if the job is having less responsibility?
I think you ought to get on paper what exactly less is gonna be for co-directors or the assistant director, because I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna
maybe.
change.
Maybe the job descriptions need to be hammered down at that point.
Yeah.
Because
We
it
did
seems-
a very basic job description when we started this whole
Yes.
argument. I don't think I have a copy of it with me here. I might if I sort through all of this. But it worked out that there's quite a bit that has to be done. And when you look at all the work that was involved just on this budget, you know, that would just be one example, and that was two people working very cooperatively in order to do this, so.
I'm just trying to find
Yeah.
places that we can cut and it's
so
tight,
we- I
so
don't think we wanna cut personnel at this time.
No. At least not yet if we don't have to.
Yeah, that was my next question. Does the BOF push back like they did last year and say, please look for a way to cut blank
I
percentage?
think that's gonna come too.
Yeah,
It
but
will come, but
It
it's
will,
not
but-
November,
it's March.
It's March,
you
okay.
know, okay.
And in the meantime, the BOF has requested that I send them something like what we have here with personnel, how much they're paying at other libraries like Ashland
Oh,
and
comps,
Willimantic.
yeah.
So they can look at that. But no, they still have multiple weeks of presentation.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah,
we
okay,
were
I'm
near
just-
the beginning, yeah,
I'm just sort of already in my head kind of looking, thinking,
right, where could the,
I do, to the directors, if you look at these that you've put down here for hourly wages, are they in line with what's going on in Ashford and Eastford and Stafford around the local area?
Yeah, so
Okay, just because I know you looked at it, so they
Yep.
are in line, okay.
let
okay.
us grab
I
our.
don't think you have to do a blow by blow on that, but,
Okay.
because this has, you know, the list that we had of all the all the towns, et cetera, that's pretty extensive. And it's been out for a little while, so.
When you speak about the director at your price of 56,000 and the assistant director at 10,000 less, 46, you're talking, that's like a 30 versus $25
Yeah,
per hour, where,
and like you see like
Others
Tallinn
are-
42,
yeah.
Coventry 41,
That's
Ashford
what-
26.
Yeah.
So we kind of do fall in for the size of us.
For
Like
the median.
Mansfield, like you were talking about 64 because they're huge. So other guys like us, yeah, it does
But-
fall into.
But the towns that are equal as far as the population even is concerned,
yeah, can you say them again?
that is,
You said Ashford?
Yep.
I just wanna-
Ashford's
we're trying to kind
26,
of medium.
Coventry 41.
Okay, hold on, can you, Can you tell me exactly what that 26 is?
Is it the director's
How
salary?
much per hour?
Director salary, I mean per hour, yes.
What other
Sorry.
towns are getting it?
Yeah,
Coventry is 41 hourly?
yep,
Mansfield 64.
64, Tolland 42,
Stafford is 40, Rockville Vernon's 46, Summers is 44,
And how,
Putnam is small like us,
Yep.
48.
yeah.
Stanford 40.
do we know, how their structure is on these? Like, do they have a director and assistant director?
That's all on that chart that they have.
Okay.
That chart is very, very complete and says
Mhm.
whether or not they have assistant directors, what their clerks are like, all of that sort of stuff. It's all on there if you can find it. And,
Or once upon a time, just a few years ago, not even short than that, Wellington was below scale across the board with everything, so.
Yeah.
And that's,
So this puts us more
Well,
in
we
line.
just
So
trying to
exactly, so we'd
do-
at least like to go in with this, if we have to cut back, sure, but
56 is
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying cut back now.
No,
I was
exactly.
just sort of thinking in
Like
terms
where
of
they
what
might ask
happens.
We
us to
feel-
land.
yeah,
Right.
definitely, we feel strong in supporting this and we'll have to do what we have to do if it comes to that.
So I think, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Thank you, this is awesome. So it looks like we do have approximately, correct me if I'm wrong, an increase of about $3,300 with this, correct, from what we approved,
On the personnel lines? you mean?
personnel lines.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong,
No, that sounds like.
I
it'd be all right.
calculated, ours was approximately $190,740. And this one being approximately $194,069. And, I welcome anybody to check my work, please. So around $3,300 increase.
Nick, are you just saying for the administration part itself?
Correct,
Yes,
I'm not
yeah, we're on the
including
top
any,
Can you tell me again what you came up with?
so what I came up with, adding all the board allocations that we approved, I came up with $190,740.
190.
that sounds like what I have.
And then what is in red with recommendations, I came out with approximately $194,069. So an increase of, approximately what, 3,329-ish,
3,000?
approximately 3,329.
3,329. Isn't that funny? My ears don't hear fast anymore.
The lag time.
3,329.
Yep.
Okay,
You
got
more increase for
Yeah.
Correct,
payroll.
with
Okay, because I didn't figure that out, but I want to be able to see that.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I know we're getting rid of pages and it's gonna be absorbed through a page, sorry. Through it looks like, director, assistant director, and programmer, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And hours on the assistant two, we're gonna go up, proposed from 12 to 18,
Right.
correct?
That's the program.
I think, I have to double check my work, but it looked like for every hour it was, around $1,000. I can correct myself if I'm wrong. Increase there, well, let's just say here, we would take 2 times 52 times 1982. So for two hours there, if we took 2 hours away, we gained back $2,000, $2,061. So if we went another hour and we chopped that down to 15, we're kind of eating into that $3,300 jump. Just some things I'm looking at from black and white numbers standpoint.
Yeah.
I understand, give me that 18 hours, I understand that
Yeah.
point. But my pushback would be, hey, we're gonna go from 12 to 15. Yes, a little bit of weight might go on to the director and co-director. We are giving it a little bit increase on pay in that too, right? So I personally would like to see that number come down to 15 to kind of absorb that $3,300 jump.
I think we should keep it in there. I understand the $3,300. $3,300 is what percentage of the whole budget? Sometimes we lose track of that, so it's a little over 1%, 1.5% or something, just estimating, which isn't like a huge one. So I think I'd keep it in there, but as you say, if we have to cut later, we can do that. I mean, that gives us some room to be able to cut a couple hours. I don't know where else we would cut on this, okay? So maybe we can, look at that. It's, the problem with this budget, like school budgets, is you're very personnel heavy. You know, you operate on the backs of the personnel.
And that's
not
always
the
in a
equipment.
business where you get the biggest expense
Yeah,
is in
yeah.
that
And
area.
schools are the same
It's
way.
nothing new,
It's-
just the library, it's everywhere.
It's-
Correct.
yeah. So it always looks like, wow. And,
Can I ask something? Would you consider, we don't know what the board has planned between this director and assistant director stuff. When it was co-directors, things were much more clearer and we knew where we stood. What I would suggest and because I do feel that the programmer is as important. I will go so far to say more important than a director and assistant director, and I could give you a long list of why that is. But what about considering taking from your assistant director, a couple hours, still leaving them full-time, instead of 35 hours, maybe 32 or 33 hours. See where you can make up the difference and put it into the programmer, give them more hours and
Or
put some
even
of
the
that money.
hourly rate come
you know,
down, I mean.
I don't
like
wanna
that.
see it taken from any of the other people because you're talking coverage now. You know, you have a director, co-directors and a director, assistant director, pretty much in the back office. You're talking, the people out front are, you know, it's like going to doctor office, they're the first people you see and they're the most important and they're, you know, handling business. And so I don't want to see their hours being cut. It would have been nice if we could have kept the page, those 18 hours, because now you would have had two people all the time coverage up front. Still think that's important. Sorry to see it go, but you know, I understand. But would you
How would,
consider about maybe
Hmm.
having an assistant director or the second co-director, whatever you guys end up doing, going down a couple of hours to give those hours and the money to the programmer?
So my concern is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I would, along with Debbie, to cut down in that area, but I would go with their hourly wage going down and keep the hours, because it'd be important to have those hours in the building.
and the benefits.
Well, now you always have a
how
director
is it-
here.
I'm sorry.
So
Oh, sorry.
my concern is when you cut down a pay on that position, it's a less attractive position,
Mhm.
correct? So in order to have somebody do that job, it's harder to find somebody to do it, 40,000, whatever that number is gonna be lower, right? If it's 40,000 compared to 45.
You do know you have two people here that have been doing it for the last 3-4 years for a heck of a lot less that you wouldn't have to go looking for anybody else.
No,
But
I'm not
just
saying, I'm not
saying-
speaking in that behalf, like say
No, but I'm
you
saying
took
as
one of
far
those
as-
positions, either one of you, right?
Right.
I mean, that's a $5,000 jump, right? Is that less attractive to somebody in that position?
I suppose it depends on who you get. It's like
Correct,
we're-
correct.
Personally, I'd say for the betterment of the
Okay,
library.
I have a question, for clarifications, you were talking about money going up about 3,500 here.
Correct.
Is that from what we sent to the Board of Finance?
So what we sent to Board of Finance for, and that's not including the healthcare and all that stuff, right?
Okay.
Just looking for at the titled positions here, adding those numbers up, we sent 190,740.
Right, so what we're doing is this budget here that we're looking at is even more than the budget that we sent that they're gonna tell us we have to cut from.
Not
No, it's
No
less.
way.
Because
less.
he said
Okay.
3,329 was an increase in payroll over last year's numbers.
Oh, I misunderstood.
So it is
Okay,
an
I'm-
uptick
No,
in
this is
that.
actually-
I misunderstood, I'm sorry, I thought this was a
No,
higher
no,
budget.
No, we already,
No.
we just made cuts
1.05
doing that.
less.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood,
Because
that's why I
Karen
wanted
had
to
rounded up.
that's
and
why I wanted
we
to
rounded
clarify,
the
because
penny.
things weren't
Right.
making sense to me.
If we
You made that
change
much
the
difference.
hours, how does it affect the benefits package?
as long as it's considered full-time, they're offered benefits, but I don't know what is considered full-time in our policy.
30 hours with the
30
town.
hours.
Yeah.
Anything over
Okay.
29 is considered full-time.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay, good, okay, because I don't wanna, lose that package for anybody that needs it.
Mhm.
Okay,
Just, I mean, it probably wouldn't work, but in fantasy world, say the co-director had a week or two in a month where they were like, I'm cool with working 30 hours, give the other 5 hours to the program. I don't know, you're getting pretty dynamic in how you're gonna do that. I just, again, fantasy world, I don't know if that's something
I
that,
think we need hard and
Yeah.
fast numbers so people know what to expect
Correct,
from their
correct,
jobs. We can't
correct.
just
correct,
assume that somebody's gonna throw away their hours and somebody's gonna say, oh, thanks for the hours.
correct.
the policy
Mhm.
that we set here, what we're doing is setting a new policy, is going to follow on
Correct.
if they win the lottery
Mhm.
and end up down in Costa Rica on the beach in a nice little beach house.
We're
with
idiots, we'd still be
A
here.
couple
Mhm.
really
Oh,
tough-looking
speak for
guys.
yourself.
Yeah,
We're
I'll be in
fools.
Costa Rica.
And anyways, so it carries on, the policy.
Yeah, I
carries
understand.
on. Do we recommend that we have higher numbers for the programmer? Do we could, there's a lot of different things we could do. The bottom line for this too is that the Board of Finance approves the bottom line, period.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah.
They can send back any suggestions they want to,
Yeah.
and their input is valuable. But if we decide come June or May that we would be better off with a part-time assistant director and a full-time programmer,
Yeah, true.
we can do those things.
That's a
We can
valid
play
point.
that
Yeah.
money
Mhm.
around.
That's a valid
And
point.
so I think maybe, once again, is like, let's think before we change.
Mhm.
Yeah, just.
And
We
I-
might put too much weight in this assistant
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
And I would keep this at the 18 hours. You don't know, the Board of Finance is liable to say, that's worth that $3,000. If we see that people are beginning to come in and our numbers that we're servicing are more, and there would be more programs that they can take advantage of too. That would be attractive to everybody in the town and not this nebulous group of people, the individuals. So I would keep it at that,
Do you have somebody in the waiting room?
because our
Just
total
let her, I
budget
think Joy
has
keeps going
dropped.
in and out.
Our total budget has dropped. So that's what we wanted to do. Even though this section has gone up a little bit, the total budget has dropped. And that's what the Board of Finance
We have a
passes.
plan, we have an explanation for everything, we're not just going in crazy.
So
Tightened it up.
we'll try the
Mhm.
18 hours and
And the
I
names
agree
are
with that
there.
decision.
hope,
Yeah.
pray.
And then we know where there might be. ways to cut,
Exactly.
but
Yeah,
Yeah,
I say
exactly.
aspirationally, we shoot for that.
so.
Any more discussion?
When we go to vote, I will be a no, but it's only because of that 15 hours.
Because you would rather it be 15 hours.
Correct.
Now-
I think everything else is great, I really do. I just think we're already increasing it, right? Just come back a little. And-
So that brings an
And that's where
interest,
I balance, represent supporting for the board, but also for the people in
that
town.
brings an interesting
minute.
point. We could kind of have in our minds a plan of, we already started with the programmer at 12 hours. We could gradually start building it up.
Mhm.
And if the Board of Finance and the town as a whole sees the results of the 15 hours, then, if they see an improvement in program, or an expansion of program,
The next
improvement,
year's
like,
The
it's
next
not
year
good.
you
I
could
mean,
maybe
request
even-
could
you know,
go
I
up.
think that it's important for the taxpayer and the BOF to see that we're getting something out of this money.
Okay.
And that's an interesting idea.
Can I make a comment? The BOF is not gonna see this. Because I have already presented a budget to the BOF.
Right.
So these are things to discuss when the BOF comes back.
Right,
Yeah.
And
Correct.
says, this is what we should do.
Right.
So at this point, we've got something here that's workable, but if the BOF comes
Right.
back and says, no, this is too high,
Right.
then we've got a
Right,
place
yeah,
that we can consider, because the BOF is never gonna see this new set of numbers.
Right.
Fair enough.
Okay, anything else?
Anything else on this budget?
Okay, then we have a motion on the table to accept the budget that Deb and Hope have presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Abstentions? Okay, so vote passes.
Did Hope, I'm sorry, did Joy vote, or is that not Joy?
That is
No, that's
Joy.
Joy's number, I don't know.
But
what
she
it
Yeah.
is.
went in.
Okay.
She's here.
So-
Again, I appreciate you guys working on that. though.
Yeah, of
That was awesome.
course.
Okay, now,
I don't think her service is the best.
Okay, and the next thing on the agenda is, the new CD rates.
And those are on, the
Is that what Dave
director's
from Admiral
report.
is?
Yeah, that's Joy.
Oh, that's her, oh, okay.
Okay, so on the screen, these are the Berkshire rates for 6 months and 13 months. We didn't proceed because the motion from before was anything 5 and up, and that is not the case anymore.
That's true.
And the banks have been going down and will continue to go down.
Yeah.
Checked just this morning because they do change every Friday and it's held. So a 6-month CD would be at 4.75, as you see, and the 13. They're recommending going with the longer, the 13-month, because they feel will make more money. That's what they're suggesting, but and I don't think now we're going to be doing anything soon with that money.
yeah, we can talk about that in a minute if we want to too. Okay, so they're recommending
The
what, do we
13
go with
month.
the 4.75?
No, the
We get
13
a
month.
lower interest rate on a longer CD?
Yeah, but
That's
because
odd.
you're
That's
going to be more, you because it's more than 6, at the end of, what they're saying is at the end of 6 months, okay, you get this so much money at that percentage rate. But now, if you were to want to take that money and reinvest it to another CD, they're like 100% sure you're not going to get that again because of what's happening. So they're saying you would make more money in the long run if you were to go with the 13 months because you're doubling your time.
How
So
much
you're
money is
gonna
this
be-
we are putting in?
Or
talking about?
It was the 100 from originally, and then we had interest
Mhm.
that we made on those 2 CDs at 50,000 each, totaling $2,031. So it would be $102,031
2,
to be reinvested.
Are these compounded daily?
Oh goodness, I didn't ask that. I don't know.
I'm wondering if you actually end up with more interest by having the 6-month interest then earns interest, you know, even,
Yeah, if it's not
I just wonder at the
compounding.
long run.
I don't know.
Okay.
So how would we ask a bank that question? Like how would we find that out?
Ask how often they compound the interest.
Just,
It-
just
Okay,
ask
hold
if it's
on.
compounded in,
I don't ever have
but
money.
you know
to
what,
do
we
this.
should just make a decision and go with it.
Yeah,
and
we
then-
should.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
say
We
again.
can
So
ask,
ask,
futz around with this,
How
but
long
it's a
the
good
interest is
question to ask
compounded.
next time.
so ask how long, ask how long.
Yeah.
How often? is
How
compounded?
often the
compounded.
interest?
It's
How
compounded.
often.
I think usually
I just
CDs
wondered.
aren't
Okay, hold on,
compounded.
too many people talking at once. Who was first?
Interest is compounded. I'm just
So,
writing this down.
Yeah.
There were
versus
how
how
several
often.
people talking, I couldn't hear what people were saying.
I said that I thought that CDs do not compound in the middle of their term, but I could be wrong.
I don't know, that's what I'm wondering.
That's what was my understanding.
Okay,
That may be the
Okay.
answer they give us, but I can ask. Okay, so how often does the interest compound?
It seems to me that the rationale is, if at 6 months, the interest rate is dropped to 3.75, then the average might not be
Right.
greater than the 4.1.
Mhm.
I think that's what they're
Mhm.
thinking.
Right.
Exactly right.
I don't think it really has anything to do with how often they compound the interest, but I don't know how they do that, and I'm not,
If there's no
Favorable.
need for the money anytime soon, I don't see that we're doing it any good, just futzing around and not putting it somewhere.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, maybe.
I tend to lean towards the 6 months because
that's what we've done in the past.
I think that, I mean, you're always making a gamble with interest rates. But I can't, that's my gut, but I, again, am not a specialist, so if anyone else has input.
That's a guarantee, right?
Yeah.
A
Yes.
guarantee, okay.
The feds are not lowering it immediately, maybe in about 2 months, they'll lower the interest rates again. From the last thing, also, we're not sure about what we're doing with that money right now. If we, this brings up a different discussion about whether we actually build that room or not. Would we need any of that money to be able to complete, at least small portion, to be able to work on the room upstairs? Or because friends were willing to furnish down here, do you think maybe they would cough up some money if you wanted to buy a rug or something like that for there? It would be all
I'm
cosmetic
sure they will help, they would
Okay,
help.
okay, that's just.
And then
Just,
that brings
I'm
up
sure
the
they
money
would.
from the town. I
Well, we
mean,
have
not
the
this,
big grant.
and the other one we were talking about, that we get back this year from the state?
Oh, no, what's coming in April?
Yeah.
Oh, that's different. That
Oh,
would be-
okay.
Yeah, we can say that till March's meeting. Good news.
Well, I think that the 13 months might not be a bad idea. And lock it in, they might have something to do there, but I'm not sure, we're also locking our money in for 13 months.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
6 months is a safer bet
Yeah.
overall, because we know what we'll get for the 6 months. And if things change, if we decide to go through with things in there,
It's
need to
liquid
make
sooner, yeah.
deposits and stuff,
Yeah, that's true.
we're not stuck on 13 months, but.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm 100% on 6 months. Just based
Hey,
on,
Nick, you and I agree on something.
Wow.
Nick, I'm just curious, can you explain to me why?
yeah, so I'm not a financial advisor or any of that. I mean, I just listen to a lot of financial podcasts and I drive an hour and a half, 2 hours every day. So, I'm not confident that inflation is controlled. And without going too far into it, I'm not confident rates will continue to come down in the fall time and stuff.
Valid.
Yeah, and the Fed has been, their knee jerk on the inflation has been, of course, they only have one tool, and
The major, variable here is elections, right? And no matter what president's going for, the economy's big. And, the current administration is gonna do everything they can to make sure rates are good, this, that. So that is the variable going on, along with 1,000 others. But for me, I'm 6 months.
The last time we did this, by the time we made a decision, the rate had already changed. So, like, I'm just worried that we're gonna.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yep.
Like, what is it gonna be tomorrow? Like, how quickly can we get this money there at that time?
Tomorrow.
Approval today.
Okay.
We can
we'll
go
do it
to,
tomorrow.
yeah, we'll do
We'll
it
take the
tomorrow.
exact
Call
same
now.
thing.
Okay, hold on again, too many
I
what
would like to make a motion that we approve the 6-month CD at the current rate, period.
Whatever that rate might be.
In the next week, yeah, I think it's worth
Okay.
saying that.
Okay.
I think at the current rate that it is
Oh,
when we get this
weather
paperwork
alert.
done,
Okay.
because it's not gonna drop substantially in a week, I don't.
I know so high. Okay.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that. Yeah, I will.
Any more discussion?
In a week.
I just always want to be careful. Talking money.
Oh, we all
No,
do, yeah.
I have to agree with both of you, I'm set on the 6 months for
Okay.
a number of reasons. Any more discussion? Okay, then all in favor of rolling that $100,002.31 into a 6-month CD with Berkshire,
I think you said it wrong.
$102,031, I said 31 cents.
Yeah.
Okay, into a 6-month Berkshire Bank CD at the current rate. say aye.
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 Can you hear Joy? Okay,
Is Joy online?
She is.
Did she,
Who voted nay on the budget, on DF? I don't know who that is. Nick?
That's Joy. Oh,
Okay.
one new message.
Joy, did she pass that?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
okay, then unanimous.
Cool.
Deb and Hope will get that done.
And we'll let you know as soon as it's done.
And do you need Nick for that, or is that, you have to go do that on
I,
yourself?
yeah, we can just do
Cool.
that.
So you'll
It was
email
before.
us when it's.
Not that we would love to have you be a part of it. You can do the whole thing, actually.
Hey, you're the pro at this now.
Maybe.
Fran.
She already has everything all lined up, so I just go in and say, this is what I want, okay.
She knows us.
Okay, I just realized I don't have my.
Okay.
That's, could you possibly go upstairs to get that folder that I Xeroxed out of because I apparently didn't bring it with me?
What folder?
Remember I was in the other day and I Xeroxed some of the policy stuff, the library board policy stuff.
In the board folder?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. It's just,
Yeah.
I made copies of it and apparently that's in there. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is the email protocol. There was a long email thread that I admit I was not on, and the reason I was not on is because email becomes public knowledge through FOI as soon as there is a quorum on the email. I was trying to avoid a quorum. That did not work. So that entire email thread needs to be sent and put online because it is now public knowledge. So yes, it is. So we need to avoid emails that have 4 or more people on the thread. It's okay to send emails and send it to everybody if it's like, you know, here's the agenda, here's the things we're gonna do and stuff, but a discussion like that, if it's got a quorum, becomes a public discussion. So that entire thing has to be, I haven't done it yet because I wanted to tell the board that, but the whole thing has to be downloaded and sent to Robin.
So I'm fine with it, but I talked to Russell about this whole situation. There was no indication that it had to, and I'm fine with it. Because conversations do happen, as long as there's no information and conversations going on where there's decisions that could be made and such like that based off of, the quorum setting, right?
Right, we can't do any sort of voting or anything online.
Correct, but you can really get into the information, supplying information, because now you're creating the ability for other board members to make a decision later on when you do have a meeting.
if you,
Because I had a pretty good conversation with Russell about that whole situation, because there was many things to talk in that.
if you send a notice to everybody, that doesn't constitute a
Correct.
quorum.
Correct,
When you start back and forth,
correct,
that constitutes a quorum
correct.
and is not okay. And so that's where we have to be careful. We can all go out to dinner, we can go down the hilltop and have a few drinks together,
Correct.
and that's okay. But if we start discussing business there, we would have to give the town 24-hour notice that we're going to Hilltop for a few pops, come join us. I mean, what else can you say? You know, it's an open meeting, you can come. So that's where we have been schooled in it,
Yeah,
and we knew that.
I would like to make a suggestion, because I did not know that. This is my, to be honest, this is my first board. I'm still learning the
Yeah.
ropes. I think that in the effort for transparency, I think that we should leave email to only things like putting things on the agenda,
Yeah.
minutes, and just have our policy as a group here, that we don't discuss stuff on email beyond minutes, meeting times, things like that. And then we don't have to worry about it, and we don't have to worry.
If it goes to all 4 people,
But-
but Karen and I do discuss, that's our job.
But
There's nothing on there that we don't make decisions.
Right.
The board has to.
But But as far as a big, like what we had going on, I think we should just make it
No,
a
that's
policy
not all right.
that,
Well, it wouldn't happen again.
right, I think we all learned.
It's already, yeah, that's
Okay.
already in policy from the state.
Right, but I, you know, instead of worrying about, oh, let's leave this person off so we don't have a quorum, let's leave that person off so we don't have a quorum, let's just not do it. And
Well, I
then-
wouldn't
No,
agree to that, I wouldn't agree to that.
either, no,
Yeah.
no, it's just.
Because our emails are open even if it's just you and I talking, if it's official business about the town, we're open to a FOIA on that.
Right,
They could
I
pull
just
that.
think it's,
It doesn't even need to have a quorum for that setting.
I just think conversations like the one we had, instead of trying to exclude a couple of members to meet the letter of the law, let's just not have any
Yeah.
group discussions.
Well, so for me, I would like to have basically a paper trail, right? For if there are conversations that were had and somebody is like, oh no, that wasn't discussed, and somebody in the public wants to know, I think they should want to and should have that access.
But if we are not having the conversations, there's not a conversation to have a paper trail.
Yeah, but they can still, like, say if I reach out to you or Deb, whoever it may be, just me and maybe one or two other people. They should be able to pull that and they should see what we are talking about. It gives them the opportunity to see what we're talking about. Instead of saying, well, that was held in person, it was verbal, and well, what really was said? Because what's said in verbal.
Right.
what I said,
Everybody
yeah,
has their own interpretation of what
exactly.
happened.
And this allows somebody to actually see what was said.
I just don't think that the idea like, oh, as long as we keep a couple of people off, we can talk about business is a good strategy in general.
No, I don't think.
It's just
that was-
unfortunate that it
was
has to
a-
be that.
Very good.
That was okay, but, I can email you and I can say, well, we're working on this and you volunteered to do it, how you wanna do it,
Right.
you wanna be here, and what do you think about reading this or talking to that person, that kind of thing.
Right, yeah,
But that's, no decisions are made.
right, exactly.
Okay, no policy decisions are made. Okay. I know I have scrambled brains, but today I'm particularly scrambled. I don't know what's on the next.
Library board job expectations is our next one.
Right, I understand that, and I'm trying to find them, because,
It is in that folder with the library board.
I Xeroxed some stuff out of here,
Yeah.
and I can't find it now. But basically, we all need to go back and read our policy manual and make sure that we are upholding what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to attend board meetings regularly, being prepared, having read all the material, ask questions and not vote on a motion if you don't have sufficient information. Ensure that we have proper minutes, make sure our fiscal stuff is okay. The one I like is implement and regularly review appropriate policies. And I think this folder, and also Xerox, some stuff out, and I
Just noticed.
really didn't even think of the fact that I Xeroxed all this stuff. This is from the Complete Library Trustee Handbook. And I like the idea that they actually have a quiz that we should self-evaluate ourselves, and are we doing what we're supposed to be doing as a library. Somewhere around here in that book, there is something that starts on the bottom of one page and continues on the top of the next page.
There was a webinar last year that was excellent. Did you guys?
Is
No,
it
in
more
the next-
basic? one or
Right,
the first?
everybody
Yeah.
should go at least once.
Well, we
or
do
even a
have it,
refresher.
we just
We
sent it to
sent the
everybody.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so it's the same, like there's nothing new.
Nope, it's exactly recorded.
I mean,
as-
they'll probably have another one this year we can go to, but
How
Okay.
long is the webinar?
It's like less than an hour.
yeah, it was like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the 45
It was-
minutes.
We
Yeah.
spend one board
It was
meeting.
good.
45
Yeah.
to an hour. not
Right, I
bad.
mean, it was-
Instead of scheduling it extra, what if
I
we
like
just-
that idea. I mean, we just watch it
Because we're here
together.
anyways, yeah. And then
Sure.
we can-
I think that's.
Well,
fine.
Depending on the hours.
No, it was
Well,
50
but-
minutes.
No, I know, but when the webinar is it one that's recorded?
Yes.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
we
recorded.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
recorded.
I thought it was a
Guys
live
all
one.
were-
No,
You were
I
sent
sent
it
it live,
again.
but then
and
they made a
didn't-
recording.
30 on Tuesday.
It was one evening last
Someplace.
spring.
Yeah. It was during one of our board meetings,
They
Thing.
set it up, yeah.
yeah. So we went to that instead.
Oh, that's right, yeah. That's
Yeah.
when we were still Zooming, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah. It was
We
good.
just sent it out with,
It was almost too
January.
fast, like I wanted them to like, pause that screen, I'm still reading.
Yeah, that's what we
Well,
thought
if we've
too.
got
Actually, we
recording,
can.
should we
Yes.
stop?
Yes,
Yes.
now we
yes, we
can.
can,
Yeah.
we should
Good
do
this
that.
time around.
I think that's a very good suggestion.
Joy says her audio is down. That's me on the phone also, but no one can hear me there either.
Her audio, yeah, she's.
Do we have
Yeah.
a slow month coming up where we could bake in 50 plus a few minutes for pausing and,
Well,
I don't know, I think
considering
you guys would
Yeah.
benefit in a big way, and so would
Oh,
we all.
yeah.
And reminders.
It
Right.
it was a very good webinar, and I think even those of us who have been on the board for a while could use
Right,
the
Just a
refresher.
reminder, everybody
Right.
should be on that.
I think it's in this folder as well as in the ALA or the CLA is.
What are we looking for that we're not
And that
funding?
is the fact that the board's main function is to raise money for the board.
And
That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm looking for, is what is the main function of the board?
There were three, there is, it is, now I don't know the order, there's advocacy, and that's
Right.
like all across the board, even nationwide, from town to, and fundraising and budget.
And that's what I was looking for, is exactly the pages that say these are what.
I know it's in there, there's three,
And I know it's in
there's
there
three
because-
things.
Yeah,
Because
she
I
spent a lot of
Xeroxed
time
it.
on that,
I
yeah.
spent a lot of time with this and Xeroxed a bunch of stuff. Um,
is my binder white or red? No, I gotta go.
It may be
It could be
Okay,
either.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys have two
Yeah.
different
I
ones?
think we got.
I
So-
think
You
you
guys
guys,
all
I'm
came
gonna pull mine out of the closet.
we do have a meeting scheduled for the 28th of February.
I can't come. But I said that.
Tell me you're gonna be traveling or something.
No, I bought tickets to something because I thought we were done with the budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're done with the budget,
So you could have, yeah, but
So could people come to a February 28th meeting where we just watched the webinar?
well, no, Kathy's not gonna be here,
I'm
she's
not
the one
gonna-
who's promoting it and wants it the most.
Yeah.
I can.
But if Kathy really wants it, then maybe we should not do it
Well,
on the.
also,
Right.
Joy said she was traveling, right? Didn't she say she
Two,
was?
yeah, both through
Through March
Yes,
3rd or
that's true,
something?
yeah.
Okay, so then
We can
that's
put
a
it
bad
on for
idea.
March.
What about the first meeting in?
Yeah, if we don't hear from the BOS.
I would like to do
The,
that.
the meeting, our regular meeting, the second Wednesday of March?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I recommend that. That's good.
okay, I think that's a great idea. We'll
Okay.
put that on the agenda and keep it as the only thing on the agenda, unless something important comes up.
My birthday,
Happy
Oh,
birthday.
happy birthday. You're gonna,
March 13th.
Yes.
I don't know how old.
so your meetings are falling on
38,
Valentine's Day and birthdays, man, what
Yeah.
are you
Yeah,
yourself
right.
into?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a great idea, because I think we just need to go
Yeah.
back over and
And
do
then we
that,
can
and I,
discuss it. Oh,
and-
one on my birthday too. How about that?
Oh.
Would your family have plans for you on your birthday though? Joy?
No, I'm not a big celebrator. I'm getting old. I don't celebrate.
I don't wanna hear it, okay?
But he's still young, he should be celebrating.
Joan
birthdays.
invited me
Mara,
to the
like,
senior
eh.
center. Are you
You would
kidding?
love the discussion.
You're probably right.
And
I'd
you'd
be
be
right.
welcome.
Right. I'm the co-advisor of the
I'm
Student
so
Book Club at EO
impressed.
Smith, and we read nothing but YA stuff. And it's good. It's all Nutmeg nominees, so it's as good as it gets. But sometimes it's not that good.
Yeah.
Well, I
Just
know
hold my
you
nose.
like to delve into things, and this
I
group
do.
loves
I
to
do. I
that.
do.
So,
I go
Did you
pretty.
finish Molokai?
What?
Did you finish Molokai?
Oh, yes. We spent, over an hour and a half.
Ooh,
The second time you read that book is when you really get.
I don't know this book.
All the
It's a book
Molokai,
about
all the
it.
By
symbolism.
whom?
It's, I can't think of the name of it, it's talks about the leper colonies in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. There's a big leper colony in Crete too.
Yeah, well, this
Not that
this
one?
one is a
Okay.
very good one, and, we got a lot out of it.
Cool.
Okay,
So first,
I do like a good
meeting
Okay, so
Brady
can I,
conversation.
can I
is basic board only.
advocacy in, are we
Yeah.
ready for that yet?
Advocacy.
Okay,
Board concerns,
when you go on to the, school board in town, they're very blunt and they're right up front. Your job is to support the board. no matter what the board says or what we decide, when a motion is passed, that is the board policy. And you are to support that policy. And if you disagree, you come to the board and disagree. Because that is a way of supporting it, when you come in and say, I don't like this, and this is the reason why. You do not go out in the public and put things out there harmful to the board and set the board in a bad light. That's not what advocacy is all about. So that's very important, that we be supportive of the board. And even though we don't like things, that's the way it goes. We have never had any problem with that before. If I don't like something and the way it goes and I vote against something or I abstain because I don't like it, it was the group decision and I uphold it. And sometimes I just bite my tongue, when people ask me about it, and I just say, that's the way the board decided, and that's the way to handle it.
And
But
I
this
know
is-
from being chair for a while now, when Erica was first select person, I would get a lot of, well, why are you doing this? And it's like, it's the way the board voted. That's it. I'm one person on the board, it's a 6-person board, it's the way the board voted. And Joan's right, that's.
Another small part with advocacy, which is a personal thing, so you may not. I wear my
Yes, you
library
do,
T-shirt.
all the
around.
time, and I'm
I
proud of
wear
you for
that all the
that.
time, and when it gets to summer, I'll do more because I do it. You need to wear it. You need to wear it to the grocery store. You need to wear it to church, which is pretty tacky. Sorry about that.
With a blazer, with a nice blazer.
When we go around town, when we go to meetings and we show ourselves to the Board of Finance, or we attend a meeting there, we have to show it. That's advocacy. That's
If it
advocacy.
You're
were
very good
cotton
at
and in a woman's size, I would have bought one, I'm sorry. I couldn't make myself do it.
But, I wear it over a T-shirt or over a
Such an
turtleneck. I wear it over a blouse or something.
Yeah,
If
It's
if
itchy.
you don't like the, fabric.
one, how I
And
would-
when it
$50,
gets to be
no way.
summer, I'll be able to wear it more because then I wear it around. And I want people in the other towns too to know about Wilmington
Yeah.
Public Library.
it's good to represent.
It is very good, and you've been amazing
People
about
from other towns
that.
come in here. When we had the senior breakfast, I don't know how many of you went this week. Yeah, Karen and I went
Couldn't
to
get
the
a seat.
senior breakfast. It was so jammed.
Oh my
They were
goodness.
eating, sitting around the pool table. I mean, that's how bad it was. But
That's a
we
good
had
bad.
people there, they came in from Ashford and came in from Stafford and stuff. So people do pay attention what's going on in Wellington. And I think that being able to advertise, is a good thing. I think that's part of advocacy, and I don't know if you agree or not.
Hold on, we
I
have
don't know, the
John.
picture that we have of Santa Claus, where the board got all the pictures, I wore my T-shirt, I thought we were all going to.
But we,
Maybe that's something go out like in emails, to each other. Hey, don't forget,
If you ever need a Santa photo, let me know, I can hook you up.
Okay. I'll shut up.
Yeah, it's a good point. If it were a better quality t-shirt, I would wear it.
We thought it wasn't too
It's a
bad.
very good
For the
photo. It's probably
money
not the
we
kind of
make
fabric
on
you
No,
would
not
like,
the kind of fabric, not the kind of cut.
but it was,
They didn't have the other cut.
No V-necks, no.
I know.
cut
Don't,
in.
don't you sew it all? I cut the neck out of my T-shirt.
I
that
see.
can't stand.
I just
Hannah.
wear it over a blouse.
You're right. I
Hang
prefer
it
a
out.
t-shirt underneath, right.
I'm not a fashion player. I'm not, doesn't pretend
No,
to
I
be.
can't stand the T-shirts that are like that.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't like the
Exactly.
Suffocate you.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I just
Poor
want
Nick.
to just speak on a little bit
Okay,
real
I'm
quick
sorry.
on that behalf. So, the way I look at my role is advocating for the
that's
library,
Joy.
correct?
Mhm.
But I also got elected by the people, and I got to represent them too. So it's a healthy balance between supporting and advocating for the library and supporting the townspeople. Sometimes the board's not going to like my decisions, and directors aren't going to like my decisions, or
That better not ever happen.
But there's gonna be times you do like what I have to say, right? So from that standpoint, for advocating for the library, there's gonna be a balance that is managed. It's not gonna be all in for the library 100%.
Of course not, but that's different from,
If I can just finish,
yeah,
please.
go ahead.
So just on that stance, from a social media standpoint, obviously you guys know I run a page, I'm very vocal on the page. And there's times where I'm gonna make people upset. It may involve the library. It may involve the board of selectmen. I agreed with a concern that the Democrats had put out there, right? Face value. I'm somebody that puts things out there. Sometimes library stuff will go out there, and that's just our First Amendment right to be able to speak. So
It is inappropriate
So-
to do so when you're a board member.
no,
You have a balance between the taxpayers and the library, of course, and we sit at a table together and work out that balance.
there'll be always a respectful disagreement on that. So
Okay, well,
that's just my
I think
my 2
we-
cents on that, and that's all I have to say.
representing the town is good, and that's what you do here.
Yes,
Correct.
exactly.
I think
You
the
don't have to
form
do
is the
it
problem.
Out there, you
Right.
That will
bring it
never
in here.
change.
And then you can, if you want to be supportive on your site,
Mhm.
you can say, you know, we have this issue coming up. Please let me know how you feel about it so that you can bring from the town. When people come in and they say, this is we have a former president that does this. People are saying,
Yes.
you know, the moment they say that, you have to
100%.
question. I know very well, he doesn't have anybody there. So when you come in, but when you come in and you say, I asked the town online, and this is how many people, because you do get responses on that, I know. You will get good written responses, and you can bring them in and say, this is neat. Now, that's advocating for
Or just
the
everybody
library,
else.
and it's supporting the town
everybody.
in a very
Director.
visible, very good way. And it also means that you may get a better cross-section of opinions that, you know, somebody you ran into here or somebody you ran into there. It might actually end up being a very helpful thing for the library. You know, it might be something that we could all use if you're willing to, you know, put it out. This is the issue.
It also would be great to put on your site programming things. The library is doing this
Kathy does
Tuesday.
that. Kathy's.
I'm not allowed on Wellington Buzz, so I don't know.
Oh. I can make that change.
But you know, stuff like that, I think that we all, speaking for myself, but I think we all agree that we all care greatly about the balance between the taxpayer and the library and figuring that out. I think it can be easy in a world of social media to have self-aggrandizement be the thrill of the
Yeah.
screw you. And the I'm gonna make a statement, and it may not be as effective to throw a wrench in the works in the library or the selectmen or the BOF or whatever, as it is to bring the thoughts of the people to the table and sit around. I think we all value the taxpayers and the library. And I think it's important to realize that we are partners in that, not the enemy.
I think you're gonna end up being the ears of the town.
You could be, if you
Yeah,
choose
I
to.
think that, you know, I can see this coming down, where, when people have anything, they'll go and ask you, and I'll bring it to the board. You know, I think that'd be something we haven't had here before, very honestly.
That's an advocate.
Yeah.
You know,
Is somebody who's
access to the general population. You know, so, no, we're not always gonna agree, but, we have agreed that we'll uphold what happens here. And if we don't like it, we will work to continue to change it.
Right.
You know, you can come back and hammer at the same issue here if you want to, or something, that's okay. You know, a lot of times we come back and 2 months later say, wait a minute, what did we do?
Yeah.
And that's totally, again, it's an amateur group.
And I think it's very easy to say, and I'm not saying that any of us don't have First Amendment rights, I want it clear, but I think it's very easy to say, I have the right to. But the question you should always ask is, should I? Is it the right thing for the town? Is it the right thing for the library? Is it the right thing for everybody? Or is it the right thing for me to get clicks? And that's something I think anytime a person goes on social media, they really need to reflect on. And if you want to make change, the way to make change is to sit around the table and talk to people you disagree with, not sabotage them, is just how I really feel.
Okay,
Next.
are we
We're close to the end.
covered?
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired. I have a
Yeah,
glass
no,
of
that
wine
was
or
the
meat.
end of the agenda, the
This
only
is
other thing
earlier
left on
than
it is any other
I know.
concerns.
Yeah.
Oh, I just have a question about any other concerns, and that is, again, new board member, so we're gonna walk through this. Can I say something like, I know before you guys asked me to look into what solar panels would be. Can I report back with it not being on the agenda?
Oh, yeah, that's what we're concerned
Okay, just wanna make sure. At this time, the transformer that the library is on has just been filled, like as of 2 months ago. So that means that we cannot put panels on the library until there is a new transformer. There is a lot of work to stabilize the grid, and part of that is decentralization. So new transformers are being added, but Wellington is not the highest priority, obviously. So I would not expect us to be able to do anything in the next couple of years, would be my guess. But John is keeping an eye out on that transformer situation, because he's a dork and monitors transformers. But at this time, when they approved the solar farm that's coming in by the highway, that maxed out our transformer.
Okay.
But with the decentralization of the grid, we will eventually get a new transformer, but not for a while.
This next couple months, we have to begin to look at that 5-year, 10-year plan kind of thing. That would be a good thing to add on to
Yeah.
maybe the 10-year plan.
Yeah.
What's the
Maybe
thing going
budget.
in on my road? Isn't there like, is it some is it battery? It's not a transformer.
Oh, that battery
I
thing,
noticed
is
that.
that over near
It's on
Village Hill,
Yeah,
something?
it's right off,
Yeah.
it's the power lines between Village Hill and.
Yeah.
It might be on
Blair.
a different transformer anyway, because there is more than one
Yeah, we're
transformer
the
in
one with
Wellington.
the truck stop, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know anything
Anyway,
about it.
That's,
But
that's soon.
They
the
said,
update
well, noise abatement will be considered or something. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah,
okay,
Uh-huh,
what
I'm
is
thinking
this?
about light
Are we looking
pollution
at
and
another
sound
rifle
pollution.
range, you know?
I don't think so, but.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
So I have a few things I wrote down here. So minutes, we already talked about this earlier. I guess there's maybe December, so we'll check on, right?
December,
Yeah,
January.
they're still missing.
The videos, I was curious as far as where they're being uploaded to. I didn't see any on the YouTube page,
I didn't check.
so.
I have them, I had to add the last one we did, but they are on our website, when we started. I mean, we
It
only
took
have
me a
one.
while to find out who to send them to because the
Yeah.
turnover in the selectman's office has been very high.
Mhm.
But I sent one to Robin and she said, no, I'm gonna send it to somebody else. And then I did some digging and I found out, so the last one that Hope sent me got sent. If they're not up on YouTube, that's not our responsibility. All I can do is send them to the town.
So in the past, they were on YouTube, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
the town YouTube.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have not seen any recent ones up, so, I can follow up with Robin and the
Yeah.
rest of that.
If you could harass the town.
Well, this is only our second one, right? Is it
Yeah.
number 2 or 3?
Third, this would be the third or fourth.
This is our
This is
third,
our-
Third,
two,
yeah.
yeah,
This is the third?
this is the third, I
Then
believe.
I have sent two.
Yeah, we've
Okay.
sent both before.
Yeah,
So
look,
you sent them to.
I sent the
Yeah.
first one to Robin and Robin told me she wasn't the one to send it to. So I did some hunting and then I sent the last one, which I guess was January 24th. Is
Mhm.
that the last one you sent me?
Yeah,
To someone named S. Rittner.
that's right.
Might be her assistant.
No,
No,
apparently
that's
it's the
not
new
the name.
admin assistant for Pete Tanaka.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Can I
So,
ask,
yeah,
I'm thinking, for some reason, and we'll check on it, but did we not have a meeting December 13th? For some reason, I feel like we didn't have a meeting on December 13th or something and it got
No, because
canceled.
December 13th would have been when we voted new officers,
13th.
wouldn't it?
I don't know.
I think we
thought
have.
we missed
I have
it.
not seen it, we haven't had a cancel since we got elected.
But
Yeah, but
We'll
you guys
have-
were in January.
We'll look into
Oh, yeah.
it.
There-
We did,
The first,
December 13th.
the first meeting
Did we
that we
meet?
had with Nick and Jen on the board would have been December 13th,
Okay.
because the election was too close to the November meeting.
Oh,
We had to
yeah.
wait-
Right.
We had to wait 2 weeks before they could be sworn in. So December 13th would not be on Zoom, because that was the meeting we decided to start going back.
But
to
minutes,
Zoom.
but minutes though.
But
should-
minutes,
Minutes
yeah,
should
sure.
be, yeah.
And that's what they're
So
talking
we'll look
about. Mary
into
Pat
that.
said, yeah, with,
Oh, one new message.
So, and I have two more, things here. Grants, how are we on grants? And I had a question as far as, cause are you guys is it MLIS or MLS?
MLS.
No,
That's
we're
right,
not.
okay.
We're just wise beyond our ages and years and experience.
Now,
I-
are all like, we're able to get all grants even though you guys aren't, right?
Right.
Or
Oh,
are we
yeah,
limited?
that has
Yeah.
no,
Has no
influence.
limitations?
We're actually in the
Matter-
middle of a huge tech grant right now for 20,000, so we're waiting,
Okay.
yeah, we're waiting for the third part, no, we've
So
got
there's
many grants.
nothing we lose out on that.
No,
No, but we have that, we had once or twice lost out because we didn't meet the requirements.
And what was
you-
the,
Actually, one of them was we didn't have enough employees.
yeah,
so personnel?
exactly.
Yes,
Okay.
so there are things that grants come up, but you do have to, certain qualifications, whatever, that you have to meet, so, and not everybody always meets them,
But the
depending on.
the MLS is
But
not
that's,
something.
no, that's no reflection
Thank you,
on.
Okay.
and then.
Um,
No, matter of fact, we've
Wait,
gotten.
One second.
Yeah,
There's-
Joyce.
There's a huge note.
Yeah.
there.
So Joy said, posting any negativity on Facebook or an email shows the public that we are divided. We need to show the public that we are a united front, even though we all have differences and may not agree all the time. And she says she has the minutes from December 13th meeting. She's looking at them right now.
And my last, so I was able to talk to Russell
Yeah.
Blair, for a good time there. Also, you gotta stay away from courtrooms, we talked about that earlier. Any official business, like if I was to reach out to you guys, that's appropriate, he said.
Yeah.
There just can't be a quorum in that, and that goes with if I reach out to individually to you. One concern is, which hopefully we've learned about the executive sessions, to stay, so when we go into like personnel, obviously we can't do just personnel, but he just said like, I'm gonna touch base with Mary Pat later, see what her conversation was with him, but my understanding is like, we could do the job descriptions in an executive session, it'd have to be executive session personnel and elaborate job descriptions, it can't just be executive session personnel. Or if we're gonna go and talk about, say we talked about you ladies, we'd have to say, whatever, a brief description, not obviously the details. Now, job descriptions and such like that, if it impacts you, you're supposed to be able to have input into that.
Be invited, and you can
Yes.
also have it.
Russell said-
So are you saying what
And
she told
so-
us at the beginning of the meeting is not correct?
I'm gonna touch base with Mary on that
Okay.
and confirm what she said,
If you,
because I could be wrong a little bit on that, and I wanna hear her out, because, everything's subjective to what you're hearing somebody interpreting that. That's everything I had written down, so.
Joyce back in, she said, can I send Karen Ann the minutes from December 13th? I had sent them to Deb on
And she
January
had
10th
January 31st.
for her to look at them and make corrections. She just resent them to you, Karen.
Okay,
I thought
that
I
got
sent
taken
those
care
to
of.
the town.
Now I'm remembering that.
Well, so did all the rest. Yeah, so did all the rest, because,
I'll have to check.
and they just got
No,
posted.
I remember that now.
And that was weeks ago I sent them.
Ask,
In terms of
Joy, what,
executive session, one thing I was told, and I wanna clarify, but I believe, what I was told is that we can't make any final decisions until we come out of executive
That's
session, because we cannot vote on anything in executive
you
session.
have to wait.
So no decisions can be made that require a vote when we're in executive session.
right.
Yeah,
Well, you can discuss, but I think you can only vote outside of.
Right,
And we
yes.
did adhere to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll call him again on that. I know other boards have voted in executive sessions and then they they elaborated what they voted on outside.
Okay,
Yeah,
that-
that too.
Now,
Yeah.
now,
That, I
That's a
may be
conversation
wrong,
with
but
Russell,
yeah,
yeah.
I thought that was what I was told by people who know their shit, you
Yep.
know?
She said correct, Jen.
Oh, yay,
There
ding,
you
ding,
Um,
ding.
they're saying January 31st minutes are not up on the website. Does
Okay, I don't know what's
Joy
going on. with
know
January
about that
31st
one?
because
Yeah,
have
I
that-
think the ball's getting dropped not on our side.
Yeah,
No, well,
'cause
that's just it.
Yeah.
I would say not.
they've been
Yeah.
sent.
what is the process? Like, our secretary writes them,
Mhm.
Yep.
and then we approve
We're
them.
now going to
No,
have them
before,
approved.
before we approve
No,
them,
we
they are
send
sent to the town. They have to be sent to the town before our next meeting where we approve them. So
Okay.
they get sent,
Who sends them? Who has been sending them to the town?
either Joy
Yeah.
or me.
Okay.
And you've
both
tagged
of
us
you
in
have been
those
sending them?
messages.
them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like when I sent the back minutes
That
a
was-
couple weeks ago, and they
It
did just
took a
post
long
them
time.
recently.
You know that, right? That was,
What?
because she was confused, Elaine, who dropped the ball for 6 months,
Yeah,
right?
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that was why there weren't any up for a while.
Mhm.
Joy was having trouble getting to meetings. Elaine said she was gonna be secretary, but I don't think she understood that secretary meant she actually had to send them to the town. And I dropped the ball on making sure they were sent to
Gotcha,
the town.
gotcha.
So I think the biggest thing is, like I said, Joy sent them to me and asked me, can you check these out and say they're fine? To me, they were fine.
So then,
So
so
they've
once they
all
get sent
been
to the
sent.
town and we don't approve them till our next meeting, then do the approved minutes take a second trip to the town?
No,
No,
the minutes of
surprisingly.
that meeting that say, these are the corrections that we're making. and
Then
we'll-
they go on the.
Yeah, for the
okay.
record.
So there's a
The
lag,
next month's,
okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's why it's good if everything is corrected or.
Right, and I
Before
wish,
they actually get it the very first time.
so I like that
She
draft
said-
idea.
She said, which
Yeah.
ones were missing?
January 31st.
Okay,
December-
I started to say, I have
I
no
wouldn't-
idea
I
what's going
didn't
on with
send that.
January 31st because that was the
That was
meeting.
just recent.
I had to leave early because there was a CIP meeting. That was the last discussion before I presented the budget the next day to the BOF.
Right.
Oh,
So I don't really know.
Oh, maybe we're all too ashamed to do
Did
minutes.
anybody write them?
I wondered.
We have the
I
video.
thought you were
Yeah,
writing the
I
minutes
think
until
you
you
were right.
left.
Minutes may
But
not-
No, I
I'm
know,
not
I'm
sure
saying.
anyone
Wasn't
took
she
over.
here?
Exactly, that's the thing.
She was actually here
I was
writing the
taking
minutes that time,
until I left.
right?
I have,
I can't
She was here.
I know Jen didn't,
She
wasn't
was
happy
here.
with me.
She was actually writing them in person.
Right.
Then that's.
So.
Think it over.
Yeah, I
No,
don't hold it,
she
Chris.
was
Working
taking minutes,
on-
it
oh,
wasn't that
here
they
she
weren't.
goes.
She's
Okay, hold on,
working,
too many people talking, I can't hear everybody.
she's working on the minutes for the 31st.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank you,
good,
Joy.
Good,
okay, now you know what to tell Mary Pat about that.
okay.
yay.
I tried to get all those minutes in. I had to go through all of the hard copies, scan those, download them, and then do them.
And I don't know what
Because-
happened when you sent the first time, because they,
Oh, you know what it was? It was, it's an Adobe Acrobat, I can't even speak, file, and the file name was too long. And it wouldn't send it. So instead of saying Wellington Public Library minutes and the date, I just put it down WPL and the date, and it sent it.
Interesting.
It took me forever to get to that. Finally, I asked Bill, and he knew it.
I know sometimes, when you save in a document, forward slashes or dashes sometimes can throw a hiccup into saving.
Yeah, that's true,
So,
that's true.
I have one other just quick thing to raise. We talked about it briefly tonight, but do we want to revisit job descriptions, but maybe not until after the budget is approved
Yeah.
I
by
think
Board of
that makes the
Finance?
most
And then we
sense.
know what we're working with and you guys can give us input
Yeah.
on what makes sense.
Definitely.
Okay, so maybe not on the next month's agenda, but soon.
Yeah.
Perhaps April.
yeah, usually the BOF stuff comes through about mid-March.
Right.
But if we take our March, what did you say it was, the 13th,
And then we watch the video then.
and we watch the video
So April,
then,
we will
then if we need to, we can
roll
meet
that in.
on
Okay.
the 27th.
The best thing we can all do though is spend some time looking at job evaluations and job descriptions.
And other
You
towns.
will get these where they're 27 items long. I don't think that's necessary. I think we, every little thing, does he smile at the people coming in? I think you condense them into bigger categories, I guess it would be.
Yes, right.
And
Yes.
bring it down to something.
Maybe a half
really
page for each.
reasonable. Yeah.
I feel like that's what we had
But if-
prior.
if we read enough of them, or spend the time scanning enough of them, we'll begin to say, oh yeah, the things that seem to important to most people
In
are
other towns,
this,
you mean
that, and the
other,
other.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Get a
job
sense of what's-
descriptions that are around that you can get online and stuff for libraries.
Sure.
And we may come up with some things, because you can tie yourself in knots.
So one thing with the job descriptions, we can base a evaluation every 6 months set and then such for,
Yeah,
I know some employees be like, what do you mean, why are you, some people become kind of thrown back when they see eval. But it helps them out, improve in areas that they might not,
Definitely.
so. And for you ladies too.
Yes.
So.
And it gives feedback.
We
in a
love the
clear-
feedback.
it gives you a chance to compliment. It does.
Also the other stuff too.
Good, keep that in mind.
Hard look there.
I'll fill yours out now.
Okay, if Georgia said anything else, I heard it did, was that?
Okay, anything else?
No,
The present
you're
is-
welcome.
Nope, Mary Pat left the meeting. Nope.
All right, I make a motion to,
Well,
Oh.
nobody's gonna be
Present
present,
to
right?
speak.
This is another number.
That I
That's
believe
Joy.
supposed
That
to
is
be
Joy's
Joy.
number.
Yeah, Joyce
Mhm.
in two
Oh, she's
places.
Two Joys.
Mary Pat was suggesting.
Yeah, she did.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. And I don't have a working watch.
It is
or-
8:48.
At 8:48.
I second.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Same to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
All approved?
Aye.
By the way, you do not have to motion.
I know, we found out at the breakfast on Saturday that you don't actually have to have the motion to adjourn. We can just say,
Oh,
there is
I looked it
no
up
more
in-
business, we adjourn.
no kidding. But only you, because
Yeah.
we all have
That's
to
yeah,
have.
we're out of here.
Yeah.